Welcome back. We are up in the gear loft. It has been quite some time.
We haven't been in the gear loft in a while. And actually, we're still kind of cleaning it up from when Bryce trashed it.
Yeah. We've been too busy shooting actual videos outside. But we are going to talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts today. You know, there has been a lot of hate going around on YouTube. This is why I'm done with hammocks. This is why tents are better.
Yeah.
This is our response.
Yeah, this is kind of a response video to that. And so I think to start off the video, let's caveat, like, well, hey, whatever you choose, tents, hammocks, no cowboy camping, whatever you do, that's cool with us. Like,
but hammocks are better than all of those.
According to us.
According to us.
Right. And so there's nothing wrong, there's absolutely nothing wrong with whatever you need to do to get outside and enjoy, you know, the outdoors, you know, put on that backpack and see what Mother Nature's given us in the weekend.
But this video is not about all those. This video is about why we love hammocks and why we think most of the time they are the best camping modality, and so we're going to talk all about why.
It's been frustrating lately, and you know, like the classic, like try not to let the like don't feed the trolls and all that stuff. But every once in a while you see these people that go on rants about how, you know, I'm done with hammock camping, and then you like look into it and they've used like the cheapest hammock possible. They've used the cheapest hammock possible, and they've set themselves up for complete and utter failure and having a miserable night sleeping. So it's a little frustrating when, you know, those people obviously are loud about it, and you know, they haven't taken the time to research and properly figure out, you know, what it takes to have a good night's sleep in a hammock. And of course there are people out there who have done the proper research, who have spent the amount of time, like have all the right stuff and just don't prefer it, and that's totally cool. But we need to talk about like why we dramatically prefer hammocks.
So the first reason, and the most obvious reason, and the reason you're going to see everyone cite while they hammock camp in general, is because hammocks are more comfortable. For most people. Unless you have some sort of weird back or leg injury or some injury that prohibits you from sleeping in that position, which is totally fair, a hammock's going to be more comfortable. It's just you get a more natural feel, I think, of like, it's more like laying in a bed than laying on a pad.
And I think most people would agree too, like, take out the concept of sleeping in the hammock, but just think about it, just laying in a hammock.
Oh, there's no question that's better than a pad.
Yeah, just laying in a hammock again in general. Like, I think most people would agree that laying in a hammock, again, take out the concept of sleeping, is going to be more comfortable than relaxing on a sleeping pad.
It's like you're going to chill by the beach for a day, you're not bringing a sleeping pad, you know, to like hang out. You're going to bring a hammock and like lounge in it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but obviously then you start talking about sleeping, and you know, there are definitely people who are uncomfortable sleeping in hammocks, and I totally get that. But for us, it is way more comfortable.
I think, yeah, for the vast majority of people, it's going to be more comfortable. There are always cases of people who have like injuries that they just can't lay that way, and that's fair, but off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, I think my worst night sleeping in a hammock is by far better than my worst night sleeping in a tent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And you never wake up sore in a hammock, ever.
Yeah. I haven't. I
never have.
And if you look at our trip videos, like, we just kind of throw the hammocks up there.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we get them up there and they feel good, but we're not measuring the angles and everything. I mean, we know how to do that, but most of the time we just go on feel and it works out. So leading into that, the second reason why we say hammocks are the superior shelter option is campsite selection. Now, obviously, there's a huge caveat in that you need trees. So this is where tents, whatever, bivvies, they're going to win in areas where there aren't any trees. Yeah. But the vast majority of people who are backpacking in areas where there are trees. So given that, hammocks win hands down.
I also don't really, and this is not a knock on Tim Watson and the crew, because I totally respect your style of sleeping on sleeping pads, but in my personal opinion, the people who are afraid of having to go to ground, you know, you just have to be a little bit, maybe you have to be a little more careful about finding where you sleep. But we've never come across situations where we weren't able to find trees in anywhere that we've gone. And were there times where like, wow, like it would be really cool to camp here? Of course.
Yeah.
But you know, we just keep walking until we find some place that has some suitable trees. And then also like most of the places that we go, and even the places with our big trips, like all the areas where you want to camp are generally in treed areas.
Absolutely.
Like there's not too many places where it's like you get to the top of like a 13,000 foot pass and you're like, yeah, let's camp here.
I'd love to camp out here.
Yeah, 60-mile winds, no water. Not saying people don't do that. I mean, I've seen some phenomenal campsites and people that do stuff like that, but I think it might be a little bit of a myth. Yes, there are people that camp in those places, but the fear of not being able to find a campsite, I think, is kind of a myth.
It's overblown.
Overblown, yeah. Sorry.
Depending on where you go. But obviously when you're hammock camping with trees, you don't have to worry about flat ground. You don't have to worry about anything underneath you. You don't have to worry about, if it rains a lot, everything water's going to come through. There's just a ton of advantages to being up off the ground, aside from all the comfort aspects. And then also, Andy kind of talked about like, camping in the trees in general is just better. You have more coverage, there's less wind. You do have to worry about trees falling and killing you, but that generally doesn't happen. So given all that, hammocks are superior just because it makes campsite selection easier. And I kind of took that for granted. And then we were out in Colorado with Bryce with a tent and seeing him, he had to worry about where level ground was, where all the stuff was, where there was pine straw he could go down on.
Yeah.
And you just don't have to worry about that in a hammock, and it's fantastic. So definitely campsite selection.
Another reason we feel hammocking is more superior to tent camping is modularity. Now, of course, there are really cool tents out there that you can, get all these add-ons and customize certain parts of it. But in our opinion,
it's nothing like hammocks.
It's not at the level that hammocks are. We love the fact that we can customize the hammocks to the type of camping that we're doing at that exact time.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And
we're talking winter top covers if it's cold,
peak shelves, peak lofts, sidecars, ridgeline organizers, tarps, different types of tarps. Dutchware just released a really sweet new Cuban tarp that's a lot more minimalist than ours.
Yeah.
It's just like having the ability to customize your sleeping system is fantastic. I won't sit here and say that hammocks in general are lighter than some of the lightweight tents.
No, they're
not. I won't say that. Are there ways to make ultralight hammock setups? Of course. But that's just something we kind of sacrifice for our sleep systems, which are super important to us.
And in addition to the modularity of the entire setup, when you buy these hammocks, depending on where you get them from, you have the ability to even customize a lot of stuff about the hammock itself, like the fabric type, the color, the size, add-ons, stuff like that. So there's a ton of options. Which really make it's really good. So if you're just camping in different environments, you can totally change your setup based on where you're going. So like if we're going somewhere for a while, I'll bring the sidecar. If we're going somewhere where we know it's not going to rain, we don't bring the tarp. So everything is just highly customizable. The ability to customize stuff really impacts how successful your trips can be, which is something that is totally new to us when we started hammock camping full time. So that's it. Those are the main reasons why we say hammocks are better. We could go into a ton of little minutia of tiny little reasons on why we think they're better, but we just wanted to keep it high level here today and really talk about the main reasons why we think hammocks are better and why they're more suited for us.
Yeah, we've been called out a few times for being such hammock fanboys, but there's a reason. I mean, there's a reason. Yeah.
It is better, and if you're someone who has never hammock camped before, definitely try it.
And do the research and get the right stuff. Don't ruin your experience by getting a hammock that really isn't designed to be slept in.
Yeah. So that's it. We think they're more comfortable. It makes campsite selection easier. They're more modular. A bunch of reasons why we think they're better. Let us know why you think they're better or why you think tents are better. There's certainly some arguments to be made for tents. but that's why we like hammocks. So we'll catch everybody on the next one.